WLCN. Co-host Judy Busby, and we have two great guests this morning. We have Chris Graue, who's the major domo on the Barbcue Cookoff contest here at the Balloon Fest, and the girl who blows not all hot air, but she makes a lot of hot air happen for the balloons to ascend.
Bless its heart.
This has been a great thing since this thing started. And how many balloonists do we have so far, Andi?
We have 33 balloons this year.
That floats pretty well.
Yeah.
Now, that's more than last year, isn't it?
Actually, it's 3 less than that.
3 less. Yeah.
We had to turn a few pilots away this year because we didn't get enough sponsors for every balloon that comes in, we need a $900 sponsor.
Right.
Yeah. And just for an FYI, because everybody thinks that, us planning the festival, we make millions of dollars. For that $900, the chamber gets 13 off that $900. Everything else, $13.
$13 off of the $900 sponsor fee.
Who figured that percentage?
Boy, that's highway robbery.
Well,
that's new math, man.
Our pilots like to come to Lincoln because of how we treat them, and that $900 allows us to give them certain amenities and comforts, and we basically pay for their weekend, their hotel and fuel and food, and they put on a wonderful show for us. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a great, wonderful trade.
What would be the furthest distance a pilot would come from for this festival?
Oh, wow. We have some that come from Arizona, and we've had some that have come from New Mexico. They come from all over. We have a lot of Central Illinois pilots.
We have some right here.
We do. We have a lot of Lincoln pilots.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, they were up last night. It was wonderful.
You know, you mentioned that the balloon people like to come here because of the way they're treated. And I can remember there was a time when I was actively involved in the art fair, especially in Balloon Fest, and loved that involvement, by the way. If anybody's on the fence as to whether or not they should volunteer, if you want to have a good time and get an upfront seat, do it.
Yeah.
At any rate, the artists liked to come to Lincoln because of the way they were treated. So apparently it's universal.
Yes.
And I'll bet the barbecuers will say the same thing, Chris.
We're trying real hard. We're going to be good hosts to them.
Well, in reference to the artists, we have a wonderful committee. Marty Aarons, Marcia Arnault, and Roberta Graue for the last couple of years have done an excellent job. And they have built on that high standard that was set years ago, and they continually do a great job in hosting our artists and having a great art fair. So that's, like with the barbecue competition and the art fair, those are things that are kind of under the umbrella of the whole festival, but I know that we have really good people in charge of them, and I don't have to worry about it. It's really nice.
So getting back to what you do have to worry about. Getting the volunteers.
Getting the
now,
volunteers.
If somebody wants to think about this, and please do, what would they do to contact you and tell you that they'd be willing to help park cars, they'd be willing to sell the tickets or the wristbands actually at the gate?
Well, the easiest thing is to call us at 217-735-2385. But they could also go online at lincolnillinois.com, and there's a section for volunteers, and we've got a form on there stating what's available and what time's available. And we keep that updated a couple times a week. As things fill up, we'll block out that spot that's not available anymore. But like I said, right now, things change daily, so the easiest thing is just to call our office.
Right. Well, I'm sure as you come down to the wire, things kind of gel, don't they? They
do. We also do a really nice party for our volunteers a week from today. We'll have a volunteer party, and Regions Bank sponsors that, and we serve them food, and we give them T-shirts and wristbands for the entire weekend, so they don't have to pay anything. They work a 2-hour shift, and then they get into the festival free the entire weekend.
So it's a paid volunteer.
Kind of.
Yeah.
And this year we're doing, if they sign up by Friday, they'll get entered into a drawing for Art Bucks for the art fair.
Oh, good.
It's like gift certificates to buy art. And then in addition to that, if they come to the party next Wednesday, they will get their name will get dropped into a drawing for some more art bucks.
So, if your social life is lacking a little bit and you need to get invited to a party, it's very simple, isn't it?
Just volunteer.
648-5510 would be the number to call right here at 96.3. Anybody might have a comment or a suggestion to make a comment to Chris Graue. Maybe they have a secret recipe they want to relate to you, Chris. And Andi Hake doing a great job here with the Greater Lincoln Area Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you.
How long have you been in preparation for this annual event?
Well, it never really stops. We've already started making plans for next year.
Surely.
And this one's not even here yet, but it's a year-round process. And there are components that are actually going to be executed this year that have been in planning for the 3 years that I've been here. For example, we're offering free off-site parking and shuttle service this year. They can park at the Burger King on Woodlawn, and then we'll have shuttles running all weekend, Friday and Saturday, out to the airport and downtown, and they'll run every 15 minutes. And that's been logistically challenging for me to make happen. And I made a promise this year that it was going to happen even if I was driving one of the shuttles. And I'm not convinced that that's still not going to happen. We're still looking for a volunteer for one of the shuttles on Saturday. So, but that's going to happen. I think that one of the questions was posed to me early on from a board member, how can we grow our festival? Well, once I saw it, we're kind of landlocked with parking, so we can only have so many cars out there, which means we've got space for more people, just not cars. So we had to look for alternatives and getting more people out there, but not increasing the traffic, because it is a residential area, and we try to be respectful of the residents out there and the workload on our law enforcement, our sheriff's department. They're wonderful in helping for this weekend, and so this seemed like the logical next step in helping us grow the festival.
You know, it seems to me that we're lucky to have the number of entries that we do, Andy, given today's energy costs and so forth. That propane does not come very cheap, you know.
Being the one that signs the check on that bill, no, it does not come cheap. Yeah, but that's all part of that $900.
Now,
and that comes from our local businesses that all come in and sponsor and help us make this festival happen.
Well, obviously it must help the local businesses, or they wouldn't be giving this to you. They're not that kind of eleemosynary.
No.
Some are. Some don't.
Do you allow bicycle riders to enter the grounds out there at the fairground or the airport?
Yes, the motorized kind and the pedal kind.
Do you have a prize for the oldest bicycle rider?
A kiss on the cheek, tell him.
Sure.
Beats crawling under the fence.
No, but we will have a prize for our most senior volunteer this year at our party on Wednesday.
Ooh, I see an opening.
You got to volunteer.
I see an opening.
How about the artists? How's the participation this year?
It's good. One of the things that the committee has really committed to doing was keeping our art fair fresh. We usually have around 79 to 80 artists. This year we have about 68, 69 artists. What we've seen trending is a lot of jewelry artists coming in, and some of the feedback we've gotten from guests to the art fair is less jewelers. So what the committee decided to do was not, instead of just filling the park with whomever, they were very selective, so we would have a nice fresh art fair every year.
It's still a juried show, isn't it?
Yes, and they jury every year now.
Yes.
So, and what that means is it's judged. You have to be judged to even enter to get a spot in the art fair.
Right.
And then we now hire kind of semi-professional judges to go around, and the artists will win awards, and we give those out on Saturday, late afternoon. Actually, we have a reception for them Saturday night, and we'll give out the awards then.
Is Bob Holliday coming back?
He is. I'm so glad you mentioned that. Bob Holliday
He's been one of
is
our...
going to be our grand marshal in our parade.
Well, that's just
really?
appropriate.
Yes.
That's just appropriate.
We have a parade Friday afternoon at 3:30 to kick off the whole weekend. And not only is he going to be our grand marshal, but our wonderful mayor, Keith Snyder, has created this resolution, and it will be Bob Holliday day on Saturday.
Bob
So-
Holiday.
But he has the most unique art form. You
Yes.
know, art is what appeals to each and every one of us individually.
Yeah.
But his is kind of a universal appeal. He has a very, very unique art form. So it's nice to, and he's not any young chicken anymore either. And he's had some bad health.
one of the artists that's been here the longest. And
Yes.
it's our, as you know, it's our 38th anniversary.
He's an institution here on that
Yes.
same spot there.
Yeah, he's been here a long time.
You mentioned keeping the art fair fresh, and that's a great idea. But like Bob Holiday, there are others that people look for, that people appreciate, and have been coming pretty near as long as he has. So you have to incorporate that into it too, I'm sure.
Yes, and I will be honest, the art fair I know probably the least about, because we've had such committed volunteers that just really take it over like they own it and they run it that way. They're very aware and cognizant of the long-termers and the, like you said, institutions in our art fair, and they're respectful of that. And then there were some when I first started that weren't really fitting the criteria of artist, meaning they didn't hand make every component of their art.
Yes.
And they've found a better fit over in the craft fair. So they're still coming. They've been in our community, coming to our community for a long time. They've just moved over to Scully Park
Right.
and found success over there.
Let's talk for a second about that too. The craft fair at Scully Park.
Yes, well, it's a craft fair / flea market, and Dom Dalpaus from the Oasis, that group, they're wonderful. They run that, and it has grown. We filled the park. I think we only had a few spots left yesterday when I was in the office. So, and our crafters, and not so much the flea market, but the crafters like to wait and see what the weather's going to be like before they sign up. And since it's not a jury process, we kind of let them. So we'll get a flood towards the end of this week of registration for the craft fair, and I think we're almost full. So they're gonna.
They best hustle and decide on
they
the
better
weather.
hurry up, and some of them may be turned away this year. It'll be the first year we've had to turn anybody away.
Makes it so fun when everybody waits until the last minute.
Oh, I know.
Oh, it keeps it exciting.
What an aid to planning.
Yeah,
huh?
no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, now you, Chris, on your end, on the Kansas City Barbecue Society, you can't wait until the last minute, can you, and have somebody sign up at the 11th hour?
Our tipping number, or the max number that we feel comfortable with hosting right now is 38. And it's partially because of the area downtown, where depending on how this year goes, we may be able to fit more in. We thought we could do over 50. But we feel comfortable doing 38 because of the number of judges. If we have teams sign up, we have to make sure we have adequate judging as well,
Exactly.
because we want to stay 100% certified. So depending, if we have 37 next Thursday night, and somebody still shows up on Friday and still brings us a registration and $275, they can. I think we can still let them in.
Is that about the common reservation amount?
Yes, and we looked at that very, very carefully, and we wanted to be competitive, or we wanted to be in the same area, and we wanted to have a nice sized purse. And we were so lucky. You mentioned Eaton Corporation early in the broadcast about how they help with things.
Always.
Joe Fitz does all the electrical, mostly volunteer, hooks everything up.
I'm not
Joe said,
surprised.
okay, we're going to need these breaker panels, we're going to need all these breakers. He submitted a list to me. I sent it to Andi. Andi sent it to Eaton. We had that stuff in 24 hours.
I believe you.
$7,000 worth of breaker panels they
Isn't that
donated.
just
I
Some
totally
festival.
believe you.
And myself and Jim Bishop's handling the infrastructure, the water, the electric, the setup of everything downtown. We wired all that stuff up Saturday night. And when you've got a company like that donates quality products to make something like that happen, and of all the things, a lot of the competitors we discussed with and asked them questions of all the things that happen at a contest that don't work well, they say adequate power is a problem. And a lot of these guys, although it's wood-fired, a lot of them have blower systems, and they use apparatuses called a Barbcue Guru that is electrically operated.
A barbecue what?
A Barbcue Guru. It's a temperature control is very important when you're cooking barbecue, and a lot of them have
I've told you that every time.
Oh, Bill,
of them
you
have
don't even know how to spell barbecue.
Got to be right about that.
But I
So
love
anyway, electricity is very, very important. And
Well, the logistics of setting this whole thing up is really very, very significant. Just lining up all of this thing and then getting it done after you've lined it up.
we were downtown last year in the fall, counting spaces. We were downtown in the dead of winter when it was about 5 degrees, measuring spaces off. We got downtown city maps from Mark Mathon, the city engineer.
And by we, not I wasn't. I didn't. do
It
that.
wasn't you?
No, it was Chris and his team.
Well, and then I remember it being 5 degrees outside, sweatshirts, gloves, out there trying to measure this stuff off. And then 2 weeks ago Sunday, Jim Bishop and Mark Mathon were downtown. I think it was 105
Hotter than a
degrees.
hub.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Measuring everything out, putting the hash marks in so that we knew exactly where the teams were going to go, trying to figure out where the vendors are going to go and where they're going to be positioned to get power and everything. And the committee that I've got has just been fantastic. When we decided we wanted to do this, there were about 15 people that I knew were interested in doing it. I started making phone calls. We had a couple meetings, and we decided, okay, we're going to do this thing and send our paperwork in. And I've got about 6 guys, or actually there's 9 guys that have been pretty much at every meeting, unless they've had a family conflict or somebody's been sick. You know, it's just like any other civic group. You've got about 10 people that show up that want to make this thing happen. And without the help of the committee and the help of the sponsors, this thing would not have happened.
You know, I remember one year when we were marking off Latham Park for the art fair, and there was quite a bump in the park that had to go. And Frankie Gazzardo had a new Cadillac, so she drove it up into the park, and she drove back and forth over the bump. And I tell you, there's more than one way to skin a cat, isn't there?
You bet.
That sounded like an Ed Ulrich solution to a problem.
Yeah, I think they went to school together. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Chris.
Can I talk about sponsorship just a little bit
Absolutely.
for our event? We did this thing where we decided we would solicit sponsorship for the categories, and we've got a purse of $8,000. It's $2,000 for Grand Champion, $1,000 for Reserve Grand Champion, and then we're paying first through fifth for each one of the categories.
That's remarkable.
And when we decided we were going to go out and seek sponsorship, Charlie Lee and I are co-sponsoring Grand Champion, Reserve Grand Champion. We were already kind of on board before we went into this.
Mm-hmm.
We had the balance of the sponsorship money raised in 3 weeks.
Oh boy.
So, and it's Lincoln IGA, myself, my brother-in-law Brad Nichols from Nichols Motor Company in Mason City,
Yep.
State Bank of Lincoln, Stuffed-A-Ria Pizza, Cisco, Lincoln Rotary Club. We need to talk about Lincoln Rotary Club and their barbecue bucks a little bit. Croft Fertilizer Service. I sure hope I haven't forgot anybody. Eaton Corporation with the breaker panels. Everybody committed. The category sponsors are committed at $1,500 a piece, and they sponsor or they pay all the prize money for their particular category.
Categories.
And then Charlie Lee and I signed on for $1,750 a piece for a total of $3,000, and there was a little bit of extra money that went in there to fund other things. Cisco donated $1,700 to be an amenity sponsor. They're sponsoring the dinner Friday night, and then they're also contributing money for amenities for the judges. We've got these nice thermal bags with Cisco's logo and then the barbecue logo on the other side.
Well, thanks to Robbie Roberts for that.
Right, and our committee is purchasing wristbands for all the cooks so that they can have admission to the wine tent Friday night. So we're really trying to do some nice things so that these guys really feel good about coming to Lincoln. Plus, there's a lot of them that really didn't know that the Art and Balloon Festival is going on. So there's going to be so many other things going on as well that are really going to be interesting.
Well,
this is
it's obvious that there's an awful lot of advanced planning, a lot of hours and a lot of thought have gone into this. Let's bring this thing to a conclusion by remarking about the dates. Let's first tell us about when the Balloon Festival starts, and then we want to get specific about the barbecue cook-off. Andi, what about the dates for the Lincoln Art Festival and Balloon Festival?
August 26th, 27th, and 28th.
And we've decreed that we have good weather.
We are going to have great weather.
Since we've had the advantage of having the Art and Balloon Festival with us a long time, a lot of folks just enjoy sitting out in their backyards and watching the balloon go over. Sometimes they'll go to lower, sometimes they'll go to higher. Now the cook-off.
August
Chris?
26th and 27th.
And down at the square. At what time? What time should spectators begin to mill around and watch?
Well, we're going to have barbecue's going to be available. The official time for barbecue on Friday is noon to 10. No, 6 to 10. But the vendors will be available, I'm sure, probably starting at about noon on Friday. The teams will be there. There will be, if you come down Friday afternoon, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on. Most of the teams will just be setting up and prepping meat. Actual cooking will start after the judges meeting or the cooks meeting Friday night, probably about 7 o'clock. You get within about 2 blocks of downtown after 7 o'clock Friday night.
It's going to smell good.
It's going to smell very good. And then turn in for barbecue starts at noon, and it's noon, 12:31, 1:30 for the turn in, and then our award ceremony is at 4 o'clock on Saturday.
Well, another fun weekend at Lincoln Logan County. We really appreciate your taking your time, Andi Hake and Chris Graue, for being with us. You've been the major domos behind getting, but you've had a lot of help.
Do we have time to talk about barbecue bucks with Lincoln Rotary?
I think we'll decree a couple extra seconds for that.
All right. We approached. I had an idea to try to get the competitors into the shops downtown and interacting with the shop owners downtown. So we approached Rotary about donating $800 to the festival to be given to the competitors as barbecue bucks. They're going to get them in $5 increments, $5 bills, total $25 per team, and then the competitors will go to the downtown shops that are accepting barbecue bucks, and it's like a chamber gift certificate, but it's a matching dollar affair. So if they go in and buy a $10 item, they need to match the $5 barbecue buck with $5 of their own money. So this $800 that Rotary's given us hopefully will turn into $1,600, and it's
merchants.
For the merchants. And we wanted to do something to give back to the merchants so that they see some value to having all these competitors encroaching on their space and taking their parking and kind of getting in the way for the weekend. But then, we hope that the competitors go into some of these very unique, nice shops downtown and buy their wife a nice gift or take something home Lincoln related. And it's only for bricks and mortar vendors shops downtown.
Right.
Just for the people that have got shops downtown.
And for those of you who don't have a wife, you could buy me something, right?
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, well, you certainly deserve it. Well, again, example of community cooperation on the part of Service Club. We thank Rotary very much for that. And again, we thank you, too, for appearing with us. We always try to close with some little quote of some sort. This might have something that's apropos to what's going on in this country today. Democracy is a word all public men use and none understand. Thank you for Viewpoint.